interesting you mentioned actually because that was part of the announcement today, wasn't it? And this is across the world that they're looking very very heavily into testing people for the antibodies, and predictably, lots of panicked people that can't be bothered, reading past the first line were like, well, what's the point of knowing if someone's already had it? And it's like, so they can get back to the workforce. And then there's another layer of people going, work. And it's like, yes, the thing that stops all those shelves being empty at the supermarket?
Oh, Jesus.
Work. The thing that keeps us alive as a species. But they just see Mr. Moneybags and going, oh, it's all about the exploitation, is it? It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's about
Farley Hills has just said Google hydroxychloroquine. We did a big thing last night on the three different drugs that we're testing. They've broken in the news widespread today, so we were actually reasonably on the curve with that one. But there's another drug they're testing now, which is a failed Ebola drug.
Yeah.
But the three drugs we discussed last night is one's an HIV drug, one is anti-malaria or hydroxychloroquine, and the other one was an anti-rheumatoid medication.
Yeah, and there's others. There's quite a few kicking about actually, and great. We're all things are being looked after, and it's interesting because I never actually, when my initial research around all this and my initial sort of stress was a vaccine, which is very, very important because if you get it, you might only be immune for another 90 days or a year. We don't know yet because it's a brand new virus. It's part of the stress. My worry was about vaccines, and it's still there, but I'm less worried about that now that people are moving so quickly with enhanced treatment.
Yeah.
Although obviously the issue still, and we really need to understand this, especially kids. Kids, but I'm meaning 18 to 30 at the moment. They really need to understand that it's about overloading the system right now.
No, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. It's terrifying. Have you seen
care.
London? At least like in different parts of the country. I noticed it was quieter in Manchester today. In London, they're carrying on like everything's okay.
Yes, there's big issues down there, and in terms of the UK, London doesn't it have like a third or something like that?
It's the hot spot for infection. But these guys are all going, well, I'm young, I'll be all right. It's like, yeah, but you'll kill your parents and your grandparents, and also, how do you know you're going to be all right?
Yeah, and what if you're, I think, what's his name, the arsehole in a wheelchair?
Which one?
No, the one that we interviewed.
Oh, yeah. Donovan.
But he's dead funny.
Donovan,
yeah. He put out a really good video. He was saying, well, you might be going out for drinks with your mates, but one of your mates works at the old folks home, and that mate that you've just coughed all over is now coughing all over the food and killing everyone's fucking grandmas. It's frustrating, and it's interesting as well because the numbers are coming out now and we don't fully know why, but at first this was called, it says, it's only going to kill you if you're elderly or if you've got a serious illness, bar some tiny exceptions. But now the youth seriousness is going through the roof, and it's it's probably partly because it caught people by surprise at first, but by the time it got to the UK and the USA and the West in general, we were already hiding our old people away. And so that's probably part of what's affecting the numbers for young people now, because they're just carrying on as normal. The rest of us...
Robert Morgan's just said 10% of the millennials who get it will die. No, they really won't. Nowhere near 10%.
Very ill. But here's the thing, though. I can't remember the percentage off the top of my head. And
it's like 0.2. It's 10 times more deadly than the flu on average.
It's not the death rate, though. The death rate isn't what's relevant.
No.
What's relevant is that, and I don't know because I've seen different numbers for different countries. A very high proportion of them will get sick enough to need hospital treatment.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the issue. Not whether they'll die or not. We're back to this short-sighted nonsense that people talk about with Antifa. It's like, well, how many people have Antifa killed? And it's like, it doesn't matter how many people. There's other elements. It's multifaceted. And if the hospitals are just packed full of cunts that couldn't just hold off on beach wrestling, for a few weeks. You know, like, I mean, it's only fucking March, mate. Could you not have just taken it a
Dude,
little bit
have you
easy?
seen? There was a girl. I inadvertently caused a pile on and didn't mean to. There was a young girl on, I think, the Peston thread where everyone's been calling me a fucking idiot and a racist. A young girl was like, "Well, I don't know what's happening in my exams. I think you should tell me." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, love. You know, they kind of got the potential death of thousands of people to deal with."
You know what, love? The information is out there and available. They've already announced it.
But at the time they hadn't. At the time they hadn't. But to be fair, also
When was this?
it was a couple of days ago. But in the grand scheme of things, who gives a fuck? It's like Vice. I just tweeted this. Vice put up an article about how it's unfair on trans people their surgeries viewed as non-essential.
Well, apparently they kill themselves just as much after they've transitioned. So yeah, it's non-essential.
But this hasn't come from trans people. This has come from Vice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not actual trans people.
No, it's come from Vice. They're in a race with BuzzFeed to see who can be the worst kind of AIDS of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Robert said, "Have you seen the beaches of Florida?" Yeah.
Oh, it's insane, man. It's
madness.
Fucking insane.
It's fucking madness. You know, I just don't know what people are thinking.
I don't necessarily agree with them like sort of focusing in and shaming a specific individual. You know, like there's that one going around with that lad that's just going, "If I get it, I get it." You know, he's a dumb kid, and he's probably going to look back in 5-10 years, or even just 10 hours from now, and just be like, "Oh my god, I was stupid." All kids are stupid. You know what I mean? Like even the clever ones are stupid. Inexperienced and all that. I'd rather it was going out with the footage of all of them together than look at this.
But it doesn't work like that. The media have failed us from top to bottom throughout this whole thing. They've failed us absolutely miserably. And like today, the Independent ran a story going, well, China say it didn't originate with them, and just went with that. Didn't say, but that's fucking ridiculous. China said originally it came from Wuhan.
Well,
they gave that cock and bull story about people eating fucking bats and pangolins. We know where it started.
The thing is as well, they're repeating Chinese talking points as well. Literal Chinese propaganda. China is expelling journalists right now, arresting journalists born, Chinese nationals or whatever, the ones that it can't get away with, are just being expelled from the country, whilst putting out this bullshit about, well, the West have had 2 months and they've done nothing. And it's like, well, go back 2 months. What was happening? The WHO was putting out official statements saying that it can't have human-to-human transmission.
It's nothing to worry about.
2 months. Yeah, nothing to worry about. Conspiracy theorists, people are being arrested for breaching the peace by spreading this nonsense. So, and now China are going, oh, well, well, look what we did in just 6 weeks. It's like, oh, fuck yourself. And to lie to the point where they're saying there's just been no new cases. Yeah, no cases today. And places like the Independent, just parroting it.
Yeah.
Look at China.
Well, I've had a lot of people saying to me, like, Russia have got a low case and China haven't had it. It's like, I would trust a Chinese quick charger more than I would trust the information coming out of those places.
I'm so severely disappointed because, we slag off the media, we moan about the bias and the thing, and whilst for the most part right now, I mean, bar Pelosi and Schumer, politicians are getting together. They're working non-partisan. They're crossing the lines, and they are getting together and realizing this is an emergency. And this is the moment where newspapers have got an opportunity to really prove their worth to us and win our trust back. And they are shitting all over it, debating whether or not we should even use the word China.
Well, that's the thing. I got so much shit for saying what the Chinese government did. They sealed people in their apartments to starve to death. They did that. Well, how do you know? And it was one of them China accounts, so I just fucked that up straight away.
Oh, yeah.
But there were the British people saying, you're a racist. Well, how am I a fucking racist? I'm talking about a government. I'm talking about a fucking communist government, not the colour of the skin or their ethnicity. But this is the world we live in now.
And here's the thing, man. people are either stupid, just straight up fucking stupid, or the herd mentality is strong, and it's the herd thing is going to be stronger right now. So, when lies about China donating supplies to Italy go around so fast, even though Italy itself has said, no, this is nonsense. They made us pay for it. But people just lie and lie and lie because they need to go with the herd. And the thing is that the newspapers, mass media, has a grave and solemn responsibility to try and guide that, especially now in a moral and a healthy way. But no, they're just spreading the same fucking lies.
Yes, and just to answer Robert there, said don't dismiss
Angry.
Don't dismiss that 10% figure. We can dismiss it because it doesn't match any of the figures. North Korea lost over 10,000 soldiers into a malnourished, ill people. And also, how the fuck do we know what North Korea's lost? Seriously, dude. How the fuck do we know that? It's bullshit. There's too much bullshit online. On these fucking conspiracy theories, like David Icke is making hay while the sun fucking shines off the back of this.
Yeah. But you know what's happening though right now because of the media coverage, because of people going, should we call it? We shouldn't even call it Wuhan. Rather than people knocking on their neighbours' doors and seeing if they need anything, they're on Wikipedia right now having one of the most epic fucking arguments ever as to whether or not we should change the name of the Spanish flu on Wikipedia. The fucking Spanish flu. There's this huge thing. If you go on the website right now, there's a huge bar that says it's disputed, and they've already changed it in the opening paragraph. They say the 1918 influenza pandemic, brackets, also known as the Spanish flu. And there's a whole fucking debate there. And the reason they're changing that now is so that they can point at any cunt that criticizes communist China for their gross incompetence. And point at them and go, well, you're racist. We don't do that anymore. Well, we do that, though, don't we? Because it's MERS. We did it in 2012 with MERS. That was a localized thing. COVID is called SARS. It has been called. It is actually called SARS-2. That's the official fucking name for it. COVID it's called SARS-CoV-2.
Well, SARS was a coronavirus. SARS was a coronavirus.
Yeah. This is SARS-2. But even that's not being fucking used right now. And that is the name. So whilst they're all there going, oh well, it's the coronavirus. No, it's not. It's not COVID-19. They're all nicknames for it. And whilst we're getting onto the point of like, oh well, let's not stigmatize. Well, why are you using a name that isn't its name to soften the blow of the insanity that China has put on the world here? They had literally weeks and weeks and weeks to warn us about this bullshit, and they didn't say a fucking word. They arrested people. They destroyed evidence. The
doctors died.
Two of them. The whistle blew went missing in Thailand. He wasn't even in China. Boom, gone. It's insane. The bookshops have been closing in fucking Hong Kong because the owners have just been vanishing. And yet for some fucking reason they're falling for the same bullshit of how's Donald Trump wording this. Who gives
all that matters to people, Graham, is Trump bad, Boris bad.
Yeah.
End of. China good, Russia good. Fucking Russia.
Fuck him so hard up the arse. Trump wanted to put $1 trillion in the hands of Americans. That's the $1,000 each. Bernie wanted $2,000, $2 trillion essentially. No checks, nothing, just literally there you go, right? Even Ilhan Omar and AOC and Bernie, they were all there saying, yes, this is the right thing to do. Right now, he's got the progressives on his side, right? But Orange Man Bad is so strong and deep in these arseholes' hearts that the Democrats are trying to block it.
Absolutely.
And they're not just trying to block it, they're trying to means test it. So right now, people are losing their jobs all across America. They haven't got a fucking clue what's going on. They're freaking out because the shelves are empty. And Donald Trump's tried to just put $1,000 in their hands just to calm things down a little bit and keep the country going. And the Democrats have literally blocked it to make
So
it look bad.
it's one thing we learn in this country. You can't do the minutiae. You can't do the fine detail. It's got to be blunderbuss legislation. So let's just say that Robert Morgan's also said COVID-19 leaves those who have had it with lesions inside their lungs and diminished lung capacity. I'm not being funny, Robert. This is exactly the kind of way of putting things that is just mainstream media bollocks. All pneumonia tends to leave lesions. So far, some people have been left with lesions. It's really important to think about could and some, because it's this kind of definitive stance that's just making people fucking panic. It's the bollocks you're in. It does this. It does that. The scientists are even still figuring out what the fuck it does. There's not enough data yet. So you can't say with absolutely, that's it, you're fucked for life, you got lesions for life. No, pneumonia usually leaves scarring on the lungs. And what you tend to get with this is pneumonia. But it doesn't mean it's diminished to any significant capacity. Some people will be. Some people won't be. You could get a flu tomorrow and your lungs could lose 50%. You know, this is the way this shit happens. But we've got to be careful, and we've been doing this all week. Let's not throw out absolutes that we can't verify. Let's talk around it. Let's have a chat about it. I've heard this, I've heard that. But that's what this is all about. That's why we're trying to do them as often as possible, so we can get together and exchange ideas. But these absolutes are dangerous, because that's what leads to exactly the kind of thinking we're seeing online. See, he's now telling me it's from an expat inside China. Get a grip. That also is bullshit. Why the fuck would he know? Unless he's examined a decent sample of people that have recovered and it's verified. Not everyone gets it. In Italy, they've got a good sample. In China, they've had at least 2 people, they claim, that have relapsed.
Yeah,
Nobody fucking knows. So I don't need to get a grip. I'm the one with a grip, because I'm saying we're still learning. When you start throwing absolutes at me, I just think, no, you've read a couple of bits that suit, and that'll do. Don't work like that. We've got to watch that shit. We've really got to watch that shit. And I say that with the greatest of respect, as you know. I've not coughed. That's good.